Welcome to part two of this post-flop analysis series with me, Ron Swanson's moustache. Today we're looking at a K74 Flop, rainbow and two-tone variants on that. Same as the previous video, just going to let the slideshow play through, try to vocalize my observations and then review afterwards to see any further off-table work I can go away and do to help me understand situations a little bit better. Um, with the two cards lower on the board rather than the two broadways we saw when we looked at the King 10 floor 4 analysis, first thing that stands out, an awful lot of the gut shots and open-enders just aren't there anymore, because it's all at the lower board and these ranges are heavily leaning towards the top end at the moment, these tight ranges. And still the three betting range would appear to be strongest, and does actually have a couple of draws in there just because it has a few few of the bluffs, the ace-5 and ace-4 suited and the 6-5 and 5-4 suited. So it looks like having a bit of a bluffing three-bet range is not too bad when you do get called as well. Definitely opened up a better range here than, for example, the caller, who's missed a lot more. Again, things look fairly uniform across the different types of flush draws, and they do seem to have the same sort of impact on the overall ranges when the flush draws coming as was visible on the previous video, the King 10-4. Looking on the right hand side, obviously because the top two sets, well now top and bottom, if the straight draws aren't there, then no, that's just not a point at all. Forget that thought. Yeah, looking at a comparison here between the opening range and, say, three betting range. Yeah, even though the opening range does have all the same, well, more overpairs, more overpairs in it than the three betting range, it does also have a lot more just total junk, ace 10 off, queen 10 suited, things like that. They don't have any draws, they're not making top pairs and so on. So it means percentage wise overall, the three better has a much stronger range because they have less junk in it, even though the opening range has the same range of strong cards, potentially even stronger when it comes to having hit things because it's making more sets and two pairs, but still has a weaker range overall. So it's stronger at the very top, sets and two pairs obviously beating all the over pairs, but has an awful lot of junk in it too. Moving on to obviously expanding the ranges out a little bit here. Still again very uniform. That was an unexpected jump there. It didn't fade. Don't know why that would be. Who knows? Okay, now we get up to the sort of larger opening and calling ranges, which are obviously hitting the draws a bit more, and potentially the two pairs and sets that are now at the bottom end are getting caught up in these ranges. But again, for the ranges to be wide enough to incorporate these specific combos, looks like they have to be very wide, and an awful lot is missing completely. Uh, top, very top left-hand chart there. He's looking at 20% of his range being top pair or better. So 80% of the time, he's got, second pair, a draw, or worse. Whereas three betting range still relatively tight. Now, 32% of the time they've got top pair or better, and more than 50% of the time they have second pair plus. Yeah, seeing things here, the very wide opening and calling ranges here, yeah, starting to get very, very weak, especially on the non-flush draw boards, which I think that's a lot weaker than on the King 10 for flop that we'd previously looked at. I will be doing some comparisons between the different flops. Once I've done the individual videos, I'll do a longer one comparing all three and looking for the changes in that, what that reveals to me. At the bottom row here, I'm going to pause the video for a second. The difference here between the two flush draws, whether it's the top and middle or the middle and bottom, appears to be making a very big difference on their continuation range. Yeah, top pair or better jumps from 14 to 30%, and sorry, over pair or better goes from 14 to 30%. Top pair drops from 41% to 8%. Again, I think I'll need to check the actual spreadsheet and make sure there's not a mistake in the chart there, because that is a huge difference. And yeah, also seeing it above it, 58% missing, but we're going from, 9% in purple and 23% in orange on the rainbow and top and middle flush draw board, but then we move over to the middle and bottom flush draw. That has an enormous impact on the amount of top pairs and over pairs or better. There's definitely something to look at there, see what's happening with that. Okay, playing the video again, we'll see if something else just sort of crops up, enough to attract my attention. Okay, we start repeating the process back to the really tight ranges. Again, let's have a look, see if anything appears to be making big differences in any continuation ranges. Okay, again here, the middle row. The overall ranges are pretty static and just seem to expand a bit when we introduce the flush draws into it. But then when we look at the continuation ranges for between rainbows, top and middle flush, and middle and bottom flush, the fact that from 29% top pair on a rainbow to 21% top pair on top and middle flush draw, all the way down to 14% on the middle and bottom flush draw. So I think obviously we're seeing the difference in, I guess, what blockers to the villain's flush draw are on the board. Definitely making a significant difference here to the actual makeup of their continuation range. And yeah, looking at the calling range here on the right-hand side, we're seeing 25% of what they're calling with is flush draws. And like that 49%, 57% plus of their actual continuation range being weak pairs. That's middle pair, bottom pair, uh, second pocket pair. So basically second pairs or slightly weaker pairs with a draw included. Um, okay, everything, yeah, looking fairly uniform on this slide. Nothing specifically leaping out as really being in need of further investigation. Just going to let it scroll through one more time. Again, nothing seems to be radically shifting on this particular set. Yeah, the different flush draw ranges are looking very similar. Yeah, you can see with the difference between the rainbows and the flush draws, all the made pairs are pretty much exactly the same combos, just with the addition of the what would have been air and complete just, junk suited hands, obviously are now a flush draw, so give them that continuation. Again, nothing really leaping out on this one. All sort of fairly as I'd would have expected it. Moving on, I think this is the last but one slide, so one more to come after this. Are we seeing anything? Still, yeah, nothing, no radical swings in anything. Yeah, worth noting that half of most people's continuation ranges here are weak pairs plus a draw, or just weak pairs, or just a draw. So a lot of not really good stuff here. Hopefully we'll move on to our last range pretty soon. I'm sure it should be changing any minute now. Okay, and onto the last slide, the last minute or so of the video. Again, yeah, looking here, the difference in the flush draws. Yeah, this is what we really need to look at. On the bottom row, definitely most obvious there. Yeah, I think that's the main thing really to take away from this. It's starting to get very clear. Different boards, um, the different construction of the flush draw does make a marked difference to what the overall range appears to be uh, on certain ranges. Okay, going to wrap this video up now. I think there was definitely at least one point there, something for me to go away in. I'll watch the video back and review. I think there may have been another couple of smaller points, but yeah, I think that just about does it for the K74 flop. I do already have the video done for the for the 10-7-4. So I'll be doing some analysis on that one as well, and then that will complete those three, which I can then do a bit of cross analysis on. Thanks for watching. Until next time.